What is life really like for a farming family in Vietnam? Why is farming in the mountains of northern Vietnam still done mostly by hand? Why are most of the people working in the fields today elderly? And how much does a farmer really earn from one corn harvest? Hi, I'm Lee, a 40-year-old man living in the countryside of northern Vietnam. Today, I'd like to take you and my family to harvest the corn that my parents have spent the past few months growing and caring for. We heard that a storm may be approaching. In northern Vietnam, the period from June to October is usually the rainy and storm season. These storms are often very powerful. They usually form over the East Sea and bring strong winds, tornado-like gusts, and widespread heavy rain caused by their circulation. Storms moving into northern Vietnam usually travel west or northwest and often move quickly. Because the sea surface is warm, they can become very intense and may bring wind gusts equivalent to force 12 to 17 when they make landfall. The most dangerous feature of storms in northern Vietnam is that their circulation often combines with cold air or wind convergence. This can cause widespread heavy rain that continues for several days, even after the storm has weakened or moved away. If the heavy rain continues for too long, mature corn can become damp, start sprouting, or be damaged while still on the plants. So, even though the corn is not completely dry yet, we decided to harvest it early to protect the results of my parents' hard work over the past few months. Agriculture in many parts of northern Vietnam is still very traditional. The land is divided by hills, mountains, narrow roads, and many small fields scattered across the countryside. Most families only own a few small plots where they grow rice, corn, and vegetables. Because the fields are so small and difficult to reach, large farming machines are rarely used here. Much of the work is still done by hand. Before a storm arrives, the sky is often clear and the sun feels unusually strong. Our cornfield is only about 1 kilometer from our home. My parents have spent most of their lives working on this small piece of land. They grow rice, corn, and vegetables for our family, and sell part of the harvest to earn money. This field is also where many of my childhood memories were made. When I was a child, I often wondered why my family never seemed to have much money. Why were my parents always covered in mud after a long day of work? Why did I have to learn farming while I was still so young? As I grew older, especially after becoming the father of 2 boys, I finally understood. Every drop of sweat my parents left in these fields was an act of love. Life has never been easy, and parents will always do everything they can to give their children a better life than their own. Like many villages across Vietnam, most of the young people in my village have moved to the cities to look for work. Farming does not provide a stable income, so it has become difficult to keep young people in the countryside. Most of the people still working in the fields today belong to my parents' generation. They are around 60 years old or even older. They have spent their entire lives working this land, so even at their age, they still don't like sitting still. Although I learned electrical and plumbing repair when I was younger, the work was never stable, so I often return home to help my parents on the farm. My mother is 63 years old, and my father is 64, but they are still active and healthy, thank God. Seeing my parents healthy, smiling, and enjoying their lives is one of the greatest blessings I could ask for. My parents have taken very good care of this cornfield, from planting the seeds, pulling weeds, and applying fertilizer to checking the field during dry weather. They have come here almost every day. Other people may only see an ear of corn, but my parents see months of hard work inside it. My parents also finished harvesting their rice about 15 days ago. Now, only the rice stubble from the previous crop remains in the field. After we picked all the corn from the plants, my father and I carried the sacks up to the edge of the field. We decided to remove all the husks there before taking the corn home. Some agricultural products in Vietnam are surprisingly inexpensive. Not all types of corn sell for the same price. Dried field corn, which is mainly used as animal feed, usually sells for only about 6,000 to 10,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram, or roughly 25 to 40 US cents. However, dried sticky corn or carefully selected whole ears that are used to make sticky rice, sweet desserts, or popcorn can sell for around 30,000 to 55,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram. My family's corn is sold as whole ears to people who make popcorn. This season, my family expects to harvest about 100 kilograms of corn that we can sell. If we can sell it for around 30,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram, we will earn about 3 million Vietnamese dong, or just over 100 US dollars. That is the result of several months of hard work. For many people, $100 may not seem like a lot of money, but for my parents, it can pay for fertilizer, electricity, medicine, or part of our family's daily living expenses. By the time we finished harvesting the corn, the sun was already high in the sky. It was almost noon, and the heat was becoming intense. My father and I loaded the sacks of corn onto our motorbikes and headed home. It was finally time for my parents and my wife to get some rest and prepare lunch. Meanwhile, I spread all the corn out in the yard to dry under the hot sun. We don't have a grain dryer because our harvest is too small to justify buying one. One day of harvesting corn doesn't bring much money to my family, but it gives us something even more valuable, a day to work together. My parents are still healthy enough to walk into the fields. My wife is still by my side, and I still have the chance to carry the heavy sacks instead of my father. Next season, the corn will grow again, but my parents will never become younger. So whenever I have the chance, I want to spend ordinary days like this with them. Thank you for spending the day with my family. In your country, do young people still return home to help their parents during harvest season? I'd really love to hear your story. See you in the next video.